Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making cheesecake swirl brownies, which is something that I've actually been thinking about for a really long time. But we're making them gluten-free because it turns out that the neighbor we made cookies for last week is gluten-free. So gluten-free baking this week it is. I had leftover cream cheese from my cannoli sandwich cookies, and we're actually using some of the mini chocolate chips that I had left over. So why don't we talk about our ingredients? We have 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. You can see I have a mixture of dark chocolate chips and our leftover semi-sweet miniature chocolate chips from our cannoli cookies. 3 eggs at room temperature, 1 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour. I am using Bob's Red Mill brand. Not sponsored, but that would be great. 8 tablespoons total of butter. I am substituting 3 tablespoons of cannabis butter, so that's 5 tablespoons of regular unsalted butter, and we are gonna melt them together, so don't worry if it looks like a mess right now. And I know I talked about last week how we have to melt our butters together so they're well combined, blah, blah, blah. 1/2 cup of brown sugar, packed. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. The first thing that we are going to do is melt our butters and our chocolate chips together. In my small bowl, I'm going to combine my butters and my chocolate chips. And I am just going to melt this in the microwave. Melting chocolate in a microwave is dangerous because you can easily burn the chocolate, but because we're adding butter, it makes burning the chocolate a lot less likely. You can also melt this over a double boiler or very carefully on the stovetop. Ta-da! All melted. I just put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, gave it a stir, and then continue microwaving at 10-second increments and stirring in between until it's all melted. Make sure the butters and the chocolates are nice and combined. Doesn't that look beautiful? Oh, it smells so good too. We're gonna set this aside. In another mixing bowl, we are going to whisk together our dry ingredients, our gluten-free all-purpose flour, our cocoa powder, and our salt. Give those a nice stir and set this aside. Finally, in our largest mixing bowl, we are going to beat together our sugars, our eggs, and then add in your vanilla extract. And now we add in our melted chocolate. Definitely save this so you can lick the bowl later. Once that is all combined, we just have to add in our dry ingredients. Per usual, I am going to finish off by scraping the sides of the bowl and incorporating the rest by hand. That is it for our brownie batter. Technically, you could bake this on its own, but what fun is that? So let's move on to our cheesecake layer. Our ingredients for our cheesecake filling are 8 ounces of full-fat cream cheese. Please use full fat, it's way more flavorful. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and 1 egg. My cream cheese is at room temperature. If your cream cheese is cold, then your cheesecake filling will end up being lumpy, and we don't want that. And my egg is also at room temperature. In my bowl, I'm just going to combine all of our ingredients. There we go. The egg, the sugar, and vanilla extract. And we're just gonna whip this bad boy up. Now that our cream cheese layer is nice and smooth, we just have to put together our brownies. I have a 9x9 inch baking pan that I have lined with parchment paper. You can also use an 8x8. Your brownies will be a little bit thicker. First thing we are going to do is spread about 2/3 of our brownie mixture. It doesn't have to be exact. That looks fine. All right, nice and spread your brownie batter into a nice even layer. On top of that goes our cream cheese layer. And then spread that over the brownie layer. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're about to marbleize it. Using just a spoon, I am going to start dolloping the rest of my brownie batter. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Now is our chance to get a little artistic. I'm using a butter knife. You can use a chopstick, you can use a toothpick, a skewer, and we are going to make swirls in our brownie. A really classic way is to go just in linear patterns, like so. However, I kind of like to make my own little swirls by going into the center of one of my brownie dollops and swirling it around. We've got some nice swirls in our brownie, and these are going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes, or until a toothpick insert in the center comes out with just a few crumbs, because we still want our brownies to be nice and fudgy. Our brownies are done and they are completely cool. That is the best way to get a nice clean cut on your brownie. This looks so good, I'm so excited. I am going to cut it into 16 pieces. They're gonna be little brownies, but that's just the easiest way. Especially when you're making edibles, you want them to be evenly sized, so they'll be evenly dosed. Special guest Derek is here to taste test. Good? Yeah.
It tastes like a weed brownie.
Well, that's exactly what it is, so I guess that's a great review. But it is nice and fudgy and chocolatey, and you would never know that it's gluten-free. The texture is amazing. And the cheesecake layer is tangy and sweet, and cream cheese everything. I love cream cheese everything. I think they're pretty good. Thank you so much for watching this week. We made some delicious cheesecake swirl brownies that are gluten-free. However, you could also use regular flour, by the way. If you didn't want to make them gluten-free, you don't have to use gluten-free flour. I digress. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Check out those links below. There's a link to the written recipe, as well as other fun stuff like my Patreon page and my social media links. Guys, guess what? I just started streaming on Twitch, and I have a TikTok account. Basically all the things that everyone started at the beginning of the pandemic, I am just starting now. I am a late adopter. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Maybe we'll make something that's no bake, because it is like hot. It's hot.